Yeah, those are cool planes too. Look, there's a Maverick and Goose. Wow, while I was down in Tucson, I wanted to stop by and see this Pima Air and Space Museum. Wow, just look at all those bombers right along the road. How cool is that? Just from the road, it's cool. And you can see they got some rain last night. So, but I've heard a lot of good things about this place, and I was told to be prepared for a lot of walking. So I am. We're only about 14 miles from downtown Tucson. It's a little bit east of town. Not too bad. It's going to be a beautiful day for walking around. It's probably in the, I don't know, high 50s, which is great walking around weather. And you can see no clouds. Maybe a little bit, some coming in a little bit later, but right now it's perfectly clear. The parking lot has covered parking. They use the solar panels. Well, they're not open yet. They open at 9, and we've got about 15 minutes to kill. So I thought I would just get parked, and then we will take a stroll around maybe the courtyard area. And I saw some pretty neat things in the RV parking area over there, or maybe it's even excess parking. But anyways, let me get parked, and we will go check that out. And look at all this RV parking. And even some of the dividers are bombs. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, take a look at this tank. M60. That's like the one down in Bouse. I did a video of the Bouse Museum. Yeah, this looks like may have been over in Desert Storm. I noticed the marking up there on the plate armor, the reactive armor. Oh, this is still in use. It's from the 70s. It's still in use. It's a mine detector, vehicle-mounted mine detection. Wow. I think it's got the bulletproof glass up there. Yep. Space shuttle solid rocket booster. That thing is huge, man. 149 feet. almost a little over 12 feet diameter. Weight, 1,300,000 pounds. Engineering feat. That is an engineering feat. I'm excited about coming in here. I've heard really good things about it, and there's a lot of stuff to see. So it's gonna be a long day for me. This is pretty. Even the plaza here is pretty. Try and get out of the glare. They have the museum store there. And then this is going to be the entrance. All right, right away, I could tell this is going to be huge. Admission was $19.50 to get in. I'm here right as it opened, and there's not too many people here now. Check out this Lego model. Wow. I did ask if they had veterans discounts, and they do not. But on Veterans Day and Memorial Day,
you can get in free.
Huh. That's neat. They have the Wright brothers plane right at the beginning of the museum. Because that was the beginning of flight, too.
Check this little guy out. It's probably about 7.5 feet total from the two props. It has opposing props up top, so there's no tail. I thought I saw this in one of the Mad Max movies. It was just like this. This is a Marine. Marines use this for what, reconnaissance? It could only go 6,500 feet. It could go 70 miles an hour though. Yeah, it's only 8 feet tall. Lieutenant Smokey Tolbert. Let's check this out real quick. I had a friend when I was in the Navy that his brother worked on the ejection system for the Blue Angels. That would be an interesting job. He got to fly up in there with them once. Look at this thing. Looks like a guppy. Wow, look at this. 500 Allen Richards. It's a Bonnaville Flats Racer, the claustrophobia. Look at this, it's only 2 feet wide, 6 feet inches two. He was on his knees, head forward, toes back. Looks like it was 7 horsepower. He got it up to 70 miles an hour, but never broke a record because it kept overheating on him. 2 mile mark where timing traps were set. So 3 horsepower. He increased it to 7 horsepower. But check this out. Look at those tiny little wheels. And then this is where his head was, up here. And he was wearing this tiny little helmet right here. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I think if this thing crashed, you're a goner. I saw that. Part of me always wanted to hang glide. I just never did, and I would probably chicken out if I ever got to start. I wanted to, but I don't know if I could. And then check this out. It's like a harnessed helicopter. Let's see if this thing was ever used. They're saying that this thing made about 20 test flights, but he was tethered, and so he didn't go very far. But they realized that if he stumbled or fell, those blades would just turn into shrapnel. It'd be a big, big problem. So they abandoned that pretty quick. But here's the Pentecost E3 Hooper. That's over here. And they've also got some armaments. B-61 nuclear bomb. Wow. Look at that. 1968 to present. Look at this thing. SR71 Blackbird. Man, that thing is amazing. I've seen these in use. When I was in Okinawa, they called it the habu, after a snake in Okinawa. But yeah, when I was stationed there, you could watch these things, you hear them. They take off and then they go straight up in the air. I just want to show you around a little bit, then I'll come over you to a sign. See if I can get the whole thing in the frame. Long and sleek. You can see the cockpit up here. SR71 was the second one built, and it's the oldest surviving. And they say it was like 1960, let me look again real quick. Yeah, 1964. and it flew in 1965. So they built it in 64, flew it in 65. That's the oldest surviving SR71 right there. And the pilots had to wear like an astronaut suit, because as high as they went, there was not much oxygen up there. And they were on long flights too. And they were dripping fuel until they got up enough speed. The friction sealed everything up. Love those planes. What was this thing? GTB. That was a little, a drone. It's a D-21 reconnaissance drone. It was dropped from a modified A-12, but they tested it 3 times. The 4th time, it ran into the launching plane, so they had to modify it so it could be dropped from a B-52. Wow, I did not know those existed. 71 was the 2nd one built, and it's the oldest surviving. And they say it was like 1960, let me look again real quick. Yeah, 1964. And it flew in 1965. So they built it in 64, flew it in 65. That's the oldest surviving SR71 right there. And the pilots had to wear like an astronaut suit, because as high as they went, there was not much oxygen up there. And they were on long flights too. And they were dripping fuel until they got up enough speed. The friction sealed everything up. Love those planes. Look at this one. It's a seaplane, but it looks like one of those dive bombers that you'd see during World War II. Wow. And also here's another one. Look how big this thing is. It's huge. And look at this, that wheel lifted up into the side. So you got this big old plane right here. Propeller danger. And then you have that tiny little thing sitting right next to it. Well, if you're into kit planes, here's one for you. They're saying this would be probably the easiest one to make. You can go sit in it. I'm not going to, but better slow down a little bit here. Here's the gauges. Wow, it's pretty small. Pretty small. Well, this is interesting. These Eastman Kodak, these cameras were used in the 20s. Here's a picture of a guy using one. Wow, reconnaissance. Nowadays you can get, from space they can see your license plate. Look at this guy, that's a B-18 bomber. It was, I just noticed this up in front of the cockpit is you can't see it maybe, but there's a sight, like a crosshair sight. But this was replaced by the B-17 bomber. And because by 1940, these were obsolete. And then we have this bad boy, A-10 Thunderbolt. And check this, look at that Gatling gun in the front. Yeah, look at these. Wow, look at that. Imagine that bearing down on you. No thanks. Here we go. Bell AH-1S Cobra. Yeah, Check this. Now look at the size. Look how big those rotors are up there. Probably because it only has two. Had to be a little bit bigger, get some lift. But man, those things are humongous. Pilot, probably the co-pilot and gunner. And I think these had the cannons down below, rocket pods. Look how narrow that thing is. Small profile, harder to shoot. Look at that, the rotors are almost as wide as the helicopter itself. That's how big they are. Well, I think I'm ready to head outside. There's so much to see out there too. Oh, and see, they have a playground. So if walking around, the kids need something to do, they have a playground for them over here. Man, this is just plane after plane after plane, all different shapes and sizes. Maybe I can find this is a British, but in Desert Storm I was stationed at a Harrier base. Those things were loud when they were taking off straight up. Most of the time they took off like a regular plane to save fuel. But when they're out there practicing, man, as a Seabee, we were building runways for them and extending some pads. And at night, we're trying to watch movies in our tent, and these guys are out there practicing. You see the intake here, and then a jet coming straight down. Just lift straight up, and then this would rotate. These would rotate back to get that forward propulsion. And here we go. F-16B Fighting Falcon. Fighter trainer, 1978 to present. Look how that cockpit is just like a fishbowl. Wow. That thing is sleek. South Carolina. Yeah, I was going to take a look here to see what that's like government transportation, kind of like, I don't know if they're Air Force One. It might be over here. This was Air Force One from 61 to 67 and used by John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. This is what I was hoping to see right here too. A lot of history on these planes, on that plane. Wow. It's a Lockheed Vega Harpoon patrol bomber, 44 to the 50s. Got 3 guns up front. And then it looks like they had some sort of rockets. And then they had, I noticed back here, it's your top gunner. And then it looks like down here is a cockpit for, I don't know, they have a tail gunner? No, probably not. Maybe he was the bombardier back there. Your top gunner, tail gunner had a double barrel up there. I don't know, looks like those guns point pretty low. You have to be careful it didn't shoot. All right, let's come over this way. What in the world is that big old thing? All right, we gotta check, looks like a pregnant guppy. Let's go check that out. The Super Guppy cargo transport. How did that thing fly? My goodness. How did that thing fly? B377SG, aerospace lines. I don't get it. Look at that thing. That's amazing. I think that's probably the coolest plane I've seen today. Just the oddity of it is, I love it. Wow, that is awesome. And what got my eye was Guantanamo Bay on the tail. I got to spend a little bit of time, like 7 weeks, at Gitmo, back before it was what it is today. Yeah, I was there. Hurricane hit down in Puerto Rico, and a lot of the guys were sent from Cuba down to there, and then I went from Maryland to Cuba for about 6 weeks. Me too. Grumman E1 tracer, airborne early warning. This was a Navy plane. I wonder if they had these on carriers. I don't see where the wings would have folded up. Look at this guy. Look at all the propellers. Wow, look at that. That's a really neat view of this. It's a tanker used in 1947 through 58. It's an aerial tanker. But I like it because you can see Mount Lemmon in the background. Got a little bit of snow up there last night. Wow, it's the only clouds I see though, everything a little bit to the east. Here's an even bigger tanker, Boeing EC 135J. They used them until like 95. Man, the engines on these things are as big as I am. The other cool thing, that's the kind you see a lot where you have the tail that comes down, and then the jets would come back or fly into and get refueled. Come back here and get a view of it. It's like just the skill it takes. Sorry, the glare. There we go. But just the skill it takes to fly at, I don't know, what are they flying? 600 miles, 700 miles an hour? To get your plane lined up with that one, that tiny little spot to get more fuel. And then in here is where you had a spotter. Doesn't look like you had much room to look. A Stratojet, electronic warfare, 47 through 64. Boeing EB-47E. I had 3 jets on each wing, 6 jets. And that was electronic warfare plane. He had jets out here and then 3 prop engines on the back. Wow. U.S. Air Force. And here's our sign. The Peacemaker, strategic bomber. Heck yeah. 1947 through 1959. See if I can get this thing in the frame. Yeah, strategic bomber. And there we go. That's what kept us safe in the 50s. Looking at those big old huge bombers, like this Mirage, right? It looks tiny. After your eyes get adjusted to those big bombers, and then you see these little guys. Dassault Mirage 3RS. There's another Etendard 4M. God, these things look so small. But then it just keeps going. Here's some more strategic bombers, it looks like. B-52G Stratofortress, there we go. 8 jet engines. Strategic Air Command. These are in 59 through 94. Look at that. I just love looking at the straight-on views, the head-on views of these things. Excuse my language, I just look badass. This is a German plane. Let me see. Look how small that thing is. It's a strike aircraft trainer, so that's a trainer. See if I can line this up with the bomber in front of it. It doesn't give it any real perspective how small these things are compared to those big old strategic bombers. I mean, if you're really going to spend time looking at each plane, you could probably spend 2 days. And they do sell a 2-day pass. I saw that. I won't be here for 2 days, but I'm getting my exercise in. Definitely getting my exercise in. I like this B-58A strategic bomber. Look at the size of that extra fuel tank. Man. Yeah, it had to go a long ways. It's built for speed. Built more for speed, get there fast. Do what you gotta do. Man. All right, well, I think, oh, I see maybe this is a Soviet plane over here, some sort of MiG-17. Look at that intake. I don't see any, it's all just bombs. I don't see, it had to be just a, it says fighter, but I don't see where the guns were. Maybe it's just rockets. It's MiG-21. It says till present. I don't know, maybe some air forces still might be using these. And the MiG-29. Wow, look at the size of that. This helicopter is huge. Sea Knight transport. Here we go. The Super Cobra. It's another one. Look how big those rotors are. Just as wide as the helicopter. Here we go, another Sikorsky. It's a rescue. Yeah, that thing is huge. What kind of psychedelic thing we got going on here? Art. That's different. See what this sign says about this art. Nice brickwork. an artist got hold of it, I think. Spy Tiger, 2012. My mistake. I've been calling them warehouses. I should be calling them hangars. Right here's a F4 Phantom. And Raytheon Sparrow 3 missile. All right, let's go into the C. Stewart McPherson hangar. Hangar, not warehouse, dummy. Let's check this bad boy out. Ooh, it looks dark. No, not too bad. Look at the size of that tire right there. That thing's 4 feet tall. And then, cool. Here's the belly gunner. A job I could not have, would not want. I wasn't small enough for those things. I don't think a 6'2" guy would fit into one of those. There's the side gunners. Look at that. As high as these things went, they'd be cold up there during using those. All right, looks like we can look up inside here. Yeah, look at that. See, one guy. It's like 50 cal. Let's see the belly gunner. Yeah, look at that. How comfortable would that be? Crouched in there. No, I couldn't fit in there. I'm not sure how well this GoPro's. Oh, there's some Nazi memorabilia. There's their hand grenade. Little blade right there. Sick, but this is going to be neat here. I wanted to see this. V1 launch site representation. Yeah, there's a V1. AKA the Buzz Bomb. There's another there's a German biplane up there, Nazi. Shouldn't say German, I should say Nazi. Oh, NASA Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. We'll take a walk out here, but I wanted to go into this hangar, not warehouse. Whoa. Oh yeah, look at this. Link Instrument Trainer. Link simulators helped train more than 500,000 Allied pilots during World War II. So that's a little simulator. Wow. These things look way bigger in person than they do on TV. The Avenger. Yeah, during the Battle of Midway, these things didn't do so well, but they still kept with it and improved the motor on it, a little more powerful engine, And they still used it throughout the war as a torpedo bomber. A Spitfire. I like these planes too. The best British fighter during World War II. It's a long-range patrol bomber. This was consolidated from a B-24 bomber. On the side, there's 2 guns on the side on this one. McDonnell LBD-1 Gargoyle. It's a guided rocket and for an anti-shipping rocket. Wow, it was an anti-shipping missile. When did they use this? Canceled in 1947. And here's some different, this one reminds me, I have my great-grandfather's Navy uniform from World War I. He was a submariner. He was also on a merchant marine ship too. But I still have his uniform. What's this? A parachute bridal dress. Wow. A dress made out of parachute. Wow, look at that little thing. Look at that. I see another weird plane. It got my attention. It's like, look how far back the cockpit was. It's a winged human-guided anti-ship bomb. It's a kamikaze. Now let's take a look at this one. Oh, we can walk underneath it too. Look at the bomb bay doors. B-29 Super Fortress. 4,100 miles was its range. Wow. Was that the... Look at that. You can see up inside the cockpit. Oh, here's a... That's where the tail gunner sat up there. Yeah, there's a bomb sitting on the rack. The Corsair, yes. I mean, this is what I remember from the show Baa Black Sheep. Yeah, that's where I like these planes from. Baa Black Sheep. It's an old Willys Jeep. And this surface down here, the original Seabees in World War II used those, lay those for runways. Did a lot of that. It's easy to replace. So if they got bombed and tore up, could be replaced, moved, fill the hole in, pack it down, and put more down. That's what it was designed for. And that's a lot of what the Seabees did in World War II. Yeah, that canvas smell of a military vehicle back. Oh yeah, I remember that smell. They say smell brings back a memory really fast. That did it. This building, it has a World War II vibe to it, doesn't it? I see a air wing. Let's see, there's got to be a sign telling us what this was. Maybe a memorial barracks. There's barracks. So far, that's all I know. Let me get a little farther back so we can see. That's a cool little tiny balcony. there. Okay. Escape hatch or a fire escape. 390th Memorial Museum, home of the B-17 Flying Fortress. Ooh, this is a fancy hangar just for this museum. All right. Oh, boy, look at this. Hi.
How you doing today?
Doing okay. All right, so it turns out this is a separate museum from the Air and Space. This is a nonprofit museum, and there is no fee to get in, but they do accept, there's a donation box. When you walk in, there's a greeter that tells you a lot about what you're gonna see when you come in here. This is more the historical side of the B-17. There's some personal stories that they tell and they show you. So I had no idea this was in here, and I can't wait to go check this out. But here's an aerial view of I'll be around. I love that name. And they have volunteers to help explain stuff to you. You can see one sitting down there, ready to explain everything. And this one you can climb inside, they said, to go up and video on the inside, which we are definitely going to do. POWs. Arizona had some POW camps down in Florence. We did a museum, the Florence Museum. I did a video inside there, and they have a display for some of the POWs that were in there. Oh, so this was an air station, a station 153 in England. Wow, this is neat. Oh, they even have lights. Look at the farmland. So this was a bomber base. Look at the hangar there. How neat is this? Framingham, East Suffolk, England, 390th Bomb Group. So this castle was, they think, built by a Saxon king about 1300 years ago. And a lot of the airmen from the 390th would go in there and tour it. Yeah, here's a lot of the different flight crews and wow, so many. Oh wow, check this out. Look at this model. Wow. B-17F. Wow, whoever did this did an amazing job. Look at that. All the detail. What is this? Did you know Walt Disney made a rule forbidding Mickey Mouse's appearance on combat unit patches? I saw this too. Hand-carved wooden chess set. Every hut had a chess game and a deck of cards. Yep, I would imagine. When I was in Desert Storm, we played Axis and Allies. This is what I was going to show you. It's a wheelchair accessible up here. So if you want to come up here, it's an elevator for wheelchairs. And that's all it's used for, like a half elevator. So there you go. You can come up here, handicapped. Amazing job. Yeah, just different groups all signed. I'm trying to get, there's glares on this plastic, sorry about that. But yeah, all of these signatures from the Square J identified planes as belonging to the 390th. So the Square J, there you go, that's what the big old J is for. And there's a guest book here. I'm going to sign that in. or sign in on that. Used at the 390th Group Airfield in England, so that was one they actually used in the war. Well, oh, and here we go. So this is what you had. How did you see? I want to see if I can climb up there. I think maybe I can just climb up and then look around.
Alright, let's check this guy out on the inside. So I believe to the left. Wow, this is crowded in here. Well, so you can see that's towards the tail of the plane. You can kind of see that Top Gunner. But let me show you up front. This is the tail gunner. The nose gunner, and he was also the bombardier. But yeah, you can see where he sat, and then he had a 50 cal on each side of him. So just imagine you're looking for Germans, and then you get over your target, then you got to switch roles to the bombardier. But back here, let's see, reach a little bit higher. You can see back towards the back on the where the chains were. That's where the side gunners were, and all the way back the tail gunner. Wow, this is neat. It smells like military. And you can see the 250 cals up on the top turret. And what you can't see, I can't get up there, is the cockpit. Oh, that was. Let's see if I can squeeze out here again. There's not a lot of room. All right, let's check the back of more towards the back of the plane here. See if I can reach up here a little bit higher. Now this is looking back farther into the tail section. You can kind of see a top viewing area there. And the tail gunner and the waist gunners would have been in the back there. And I think this room was more like a navigator or communications. You can see a chair there. I'm actually standing in the bomb bay area. And you can see just ahead of us, that's a cockpit. Couldn't get a good view of it from here, but yeah, boy, these things would hold 6,000-pound bombs, or you can get 12 500-pounders in here. And just imagine that many bombs they would probably send hundreds at a time over Germany. Anyways, let me see if I can squeeze back out of here now. All right. Yeah, I don't think I could have been in these ball turrets. I was talking to the volunteer that worked here, and he was saying that usually it was the smallest guy in the crew that got put in there. Man, yeah, I just couldn't imagine. And it rotated around so you can climb in when they started getting over some dangerous territory. But sometimes they'd lose the hydraulics or something, the wires, and then they'd have to be manually turned to be able to get the turret in the right position so that the gunner could crawl out up into the aircraft. But yeah, no way. That would be so cramped in there. Fitness and loud too. We had two 250 cal machine guns, one in each ear. Boy, oh boy. Oh neat, here's a better view of the side gunner. Let me see if I can reach up here and show a little bit better view. Yeah, look at that. No insulation at all. Man, oh man. Just how loud and cold it would be. Oh, I wish it was open so I can go inside there. That's too bad. But anyways, let's see what this says. The Sperry ball turret. Nah, I couldn't fit in such a small space like that. Well, as well as this museum is set up, I think it's time to find my way out.
Thank you. See you guys again. See you later.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. As we exit, here's a gift store here, a gift shop area. Wow, they have a lot of stuff in here. T-shirts, more T-shirts. Oh, this was up inside of that plane I was talking about. Yeah, it's radar up there. Cool. So now I know what was inside there. All right, well, that's awesome. All right, well, I am out of here. If you get a chance, come on down. It's well worth it. Just be prepared, spend some time. They don't allow large backpacks, but they do, I think they'll let you carry in some smaller ones for water and stuff like that. And they do have a concession area in there too, if you wanted to grab something to eat while you're in there. It took me 3.5 hours, and I was walking at a pretty fast clip, so you could spend easily 5 hours in there if you're going to take your time. So just be prepared for that. And I think that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. This was a great time for me to look at all this. And just remember, never say goodbye. Always see you later.